Hey guys, welcome back to another tier list video on the Urban Plague tier list for Library of Ruina. This is the beginning where you can get a lot of good key pages that you can use just throughout Urban Plague and maybe even into Urban Nightmare. So we're starting off with the Gaze Office. Obviously, Gaze Office is before LT. For those of you who are wondering what LT is, I do have a playlist on in the descriptions of my gameplay on the game, and you will see what LT is when you get there. So for the Gaze Office, so Alok has, at the start of the act, inflict 1 paralysis to 3 random enemies. Paralysis is really good. You can start off the game by winning clashes against these paralyzed enemies. Dalok, on a successful hit, deal 1 to 2 bonus damage if the target has paralysis. Not great. And Bono has at the end of the scene, gain 1 strength at a 50% chance next scene. Possibility of getting strength, I believe we're in the early middle stages of the game. I will put these here. Paralysis is good, but I think the page itself is not that good. And of course, also he has a weak to slash damage. It's not that good, because of the weak here. Alok, we'll put it on C. What is this? Sorry. Oh no, that's a Carnival. Okay, well, okay, Carnival. If an ally has died, gain 2 strength at the end of each scene. In the beginning, you can get 3, maybe 4 librarians. I mean, you don't really want your guys to die. The extra strength is good, but normally if you play your cards right, no one would die. I will just put it on C. Maybe someone will die, and then maybe you can you can just deliberately kill someone, and then they die, and then you get this start popping as early as possible. I think this is cumulative, so you get 2. Wait, actually, no. It's you get 2 every scene, but the strength is not accumulative. We have, okay, these are not in order. Let me just move them in order. We have Kumo clan next. Let's put this here, this here, this here. This is good. This here. Anyways, we have Cruel Kumo clan. We'll see when we get there. Cruel Kumo clan. Sayo, obviously, great one. Great slash damage deck. This is the beginning, the first time that we see a type of deck. In the previous gameplay wise, for the previous decks, you should just be putting good cards into your deck and they should just work. But for Sayo here, she gets battle ready, so draw 2 more cards at the start of the act. That is great. You run out of cards slower. Dark Cloud Blade / dice power +1. Great slash deck. Razor Strike, upon successful slash attack, inflict 1 bleed. So there's the slash bleed deck combination that you can build. Gain plus concentration, gain +1 power for the first scene. And Lone Fixer. Lone Fixer doesn't really matter too much because normally you won't have only 1 librarian left. So if you only have 1 librarian left, it's just bad. And she also has, when inflicting burn using combat pages, apply 1 additional stack. So there is a burn going on, but normally with slash decks, you should be playing bleed. Bleed / it's a combination when you're playing Slash, you should always be considering bleed. So Sayo, and of course Sayo has the speed dice, the extra speed dice, pretty nice. So I think I will put her on S tier, and the other two, they are really good for to use their passives abilities. They have the passives, the deep wound and razor strike passives for you to build bleed decks in the later of the game. So they're good, but maybe just use them for passives. I will put the good passives on the B here, and then at this point I think we have, let's do this in order. Kumo Henchman, no use. Okay, Jikan is a general reception, but he is pretty good. He can be used for a Slash deck. You can use his passive in the Sayo deck, or you can just use his page by himself. He is a bleed heavy page, so he deals a lot of bleed. His actual combat pages deal a lot of bleed as well, so combining that with the slash damage that you get from the Kumo clan, that's a really good one. And it is one of the few pages that you do get the speed 1 passive, so 2 dice. This one probably just gonna be used for passives. Okay, next, what is that? Oh, solidarity. At the end of the scene, if all allies are alive, gain 1 strength next scene. If all allies are dead, inflict 2 feeble on self instead. This passive ability is only active if the act started with 1 or more allies, or 1 or more other allies. So it's really good to use this and then keep everybody alive, to use this passive and keep everybody alive. So it's really good to be used in either the urban plague that we're on right now, or the urban nightmare. The urban nightmare, there are some fights that are pretty tough. So you consider using this passive to give you that extra edge for this from this passive. Alright, and we have the full stop office. This is the first time that we get ranged decks. So ranged decks are, I mean, they're good, but they're not great. The first introduction was always never great. So it's just bad. Don't use range decks if you can avoid it. They only give you 1 dice anyways. The Stefan's page, gain 2 power for the first scene. Tamaki's page, offensive dice gain +3 power for the first scene. And Liwei's page, concentration gain +1 power for the first scene. Don't use them. They're not worth using unless you just want to play with the ranged mechanic of the game. It's not worth using. I think like in the overall scheme of things, the ranged pages that you do get, except Bina, every other range pages is always a tier below, maybe except for the thumb, but we will get to that. But Urban Nightmare and below, all ranged key pages and combat pages are just bad. Just don't use them unless until you get to Star of the City, and then you get all these great ranged key pages, and then you can combine them with all the good combat pages, and then you can do it. You can make a good range deck. Next, we have the Carnival, or not Carnival, Musicians of Bremen. This is the first time that we do see Musicians of Bremen. We have Meow, Moo, and Oink. So Mail is you should be using this, but you don't get any like good decks out of the Mail's page. Maybe a little bit of a blunt deck with the whole musicians of Bremen, Moo, Oink, and Meow. They all have good passives that synergize with blunt damage, but not great. We'll just put them here. And then we do have the good ones. Obviously, Salvador, great. What's his name called? Oscar. One of the good decks that I have used. One of the good pages that I have used for quite a long time. So at this point, you do get more than one act per fight. So you can, so you do need to use, sometimes you do need to use 2 floors to face a reception. So sometimes you don't get enough pages. And then like Oscar is one of those pages that you always put on your first team, and then Meow maybe on your second team. And then Pamelo and Pameli, the pierce damage. The pierce damage is good. They are actually pretty good pages. If you just build pierce decks around, build pierce decks around it. Either one, like you don't want to use like a lot of them, but you want to use maybe 1 or 2, maybe just 1. But they are good. And then Salvador is great. That's extremely good. Salvador, Guardian at the start of the act, 3 random allies gain 2 protection, and then on a successful hit, deal stagger damage if enemy has burn, and when inflicting burn using combat pages, apply 1 additional stack. Great at some sort of a burn deck, but at this point you don't have that many burn decks. But Salvador, it's the first time that his pages are just okay. Never mind. You don't get a special combat page for Salvador. I thought you would, but never mind. And here, I'll just put it there. Nothing else much to say about that. Where's Salvador? Yuna, that's it. I mean, if you're playing Salvador, maybe you want to give Yuna a try. But at this point, you don't have that many good burn combat pages. Combat pages with burn attached, so they are good, but burn mechanic it's not coming through just yet. And then finally we have Hanafuda with the discard decks. I mean, at this point you're just lacking in good 2 dice pages, so you should just use Hanafuda if you run out of options. But Hanafuda as a discard deck, it's just bad. You do all his passives work well with discard, but the discard combat pages right now, they're good. They have they're more powerful than the regular cards. The combat page effects from these discard cards are non-existent. Their effect is basically discard. They have either discard, draw a card, discard, gain some light, discard, do something, get extra damage, whatever, get extra power, whatever the case. Like that discard mechanic, you eventually run out of cards. You would think that you can get the cards back from the passives of the Hanafuda, but you eventually just run out of cards. The other one is the other discard card. The discard John's office fixers page. This also it's part of the discard, but no part of the discard mechanic, but just not really useful. Maybe even down here. No, just don't use it. So we have our tier list here. We will put Salvador here and Oscar here. We'll put it like this. Sayo is I think Sayo is a pretty beloved character, but she actually, you know what? Let's do it like this. Because Sayo is weak to blunt, her page is just on an inferior tier than Meow's page. So yeah, that's my tier list for the Urban Plague tier for Library of Ruina. If you enjoyed this, please do consider subscribing to my channel and liking the video. And with that, I will see you guys tomorrow for Urban Nightmare. And for those of you who are watching in the future, there is a tier list. And for those of you who are watching in the future, there is a playlist right beside this video that has all of my tier list for the different levels on Library of Ruina. So check that out, and I will see you guys there. Peace.